Right, so this is the agenda for today. Most of you are already familiar with FeedbackFruits, so just give you a brief introduction on the group evaluation tool that we'll be focusing on today, and then we will move on to the main part where you will have the opportunity to experience group member evaluation as a student, an assignment that we've previously set in Canvas. And after this, we can also talk about the different analytics and go over the teacher view. And of course, if you have any questions in the meantime, please feel free to raise your hand, speak up, or put it in the chat. So for those who are not familiar with FeedbackFruits, just very briefly, we are a scale-up based in Amsterdam, that our mission is to make every course engaging. We want students to learn in every modality, empower them, have a possibility to develop lifelong skills, and also take charge of their own learning. We do it by providing a Canvas integrated tool suite that you can develop in different modalities, hybrid, online, offline, and together with University of Washington, we went over a successful pilot, and currently we are focusing on the group evaluation as well as peer review. These are tools that are focusing on student-to-student feedback on skills and also deliverable. And today we'll be focusing on the skills feedback for students. Regarding the features of the tools, there are some common ones, so I'll just cover that briefly. First of all, it's easy to copy the assignment. So once you create it in Canvas, you can just do it again in another course. You can also share it with instructors. I know that many of you are working with the teachers, so you have the option to easily share it and work on those templates and activities together. The group evaluation is suitable for both synchronous and asynchronous learning. We see our partners using it both in a class evaluation as well as also as a homework offline. For example, students evaluating the presentations of their group mates or just evaluating the project contribution after the class. With the assignments, you have option to include grading. You can also make it a formative assessment. If you do include grading, then you have many options to choose from based on what you're grading students. If you are not feeling that students might provide good quality feedback or that they're hesitant to be honest in their evaluations, you can always include anonymity feature on your site. Obviously, you always have insights into what students are providing and what's their name. And with that, of course, you will have access to the analytics. We've heard already some of you mentioning the navigation of the evaluations, comments, and knowing the insights. So we hope to cover that today so you can see how you can best find the information that you need in the assignments. And also, just to let you know, FeedbackFruits is already integrated in your Canvas. And what it means is that after publishing the assignment, students will have immediate access to it. And what it also gives you is the group grades and deadline synchronization. In order to allow students to complete the assignment, all you need to do is just to have a group of students in your Canvas course or set up those groups, and you can just immediately transfer those to FeedbackFruits. In regards to grades, once students complete their assignment, you can just publish the grades. They'll automatically appear in Canvas Gradebook. You can also work with calendars and deadlines. And if you're working with deadlines, then students will be notified in their calendar Canvas. So they will be notified about the upcoming modules that they need to complete. And this is a quick look and feel to group member evaluation. I believe this is familiar to most of you already, but in this case, the group member evaluation focuses on giving feedback by students to other students on the contribution and skills. So in other words, we aim to foster feedback on students' collaboration and give you insights into the group dynamics and the collaboration options. And instructors use the group member evaluation mostly to leverage the evaluations, making sure that students are ready to provide feedback, also ready for their career skills, and most importantly, to spot different dynamics within the group, such as free ridership, and also encourage accountability within the assignments. On this very screenshot, what you are seeing is the teacher view. In this view, we are analyzing the dynamics within students. We can see how many students have completed, how many comments were given, but also if there was any unusual dynamic within the group, such as low performer, under confident, or high performer. We'll cover that in just a bit. And for now, just to kind of give you a short demo in Canvas, I will log in as a student and walk you through the assignment very briefly. And after this, you have opportunity to complete the assignment as a student, which is always the best way to experience the assignment. Right, so in this case, I'm already logged into Canvas assignment, and you can see how the assignment looks like when it's embedded in Canvas iframe. For better visibility, I will go into a full screen mode. And here you can just see how assignment looks like from student perspective. This is not the same assignment as you're seeing in your course, just an example. So don't worry if the information is not exact as on your screen. When the students first come into an assignment that is published, they will read instructions and they will see if this is a group or individual assignment. You have options to do both. It really depends on your use case. In this case, we are asked to evaluate ourselves as well as 3 of our group mates. Then the moment to provide feedback will come. And the next step will be to read the received feedback, after which you can finalize the assignment with a grading module. So first, I will go to the give feedback moment, so you will be able to see how to provide the feedback. In this case, I can see once again what I need to do is the self-assessment, which I've completed already. Then I need to evaluate 3 of my group mates. So I'll click continue reviewing. And what we are seeing here is the grid view with the different criteria and the students to evaluate. I can see that my teacher included criteria such as contribution, time management, problem solving, and there is a little bit more. And I can see that first I need to do the self-assessment to finalize this evaluation. So in order to provide the feedback, what I need to do is just to drag the line and choose how many points I need to receive. In this case, I've already completed, so I can move on to next student. In this case, I can see that my review progress, 33%, so I still need to finalize some of this. For example, problem solving. I think this student done quite well, so I can give it experienced, 3 out of 3 points. And it's always best to elaborate on the feedback, of course, so I'll click write feedback. And you can see a lot of things here because we, on purpose, added a couple of options just so you can see the maximum what the tool does. So in this case, we could elaborate on our comment. We could also just maybe write some good feedback here. And below what you can see is tip. We have a bank of different tips that you can enclose to the students' feedback. In this case, it will appear randomly to students so they know what to focus on. In this case, try to ask questions that encourage reflection. For example, I can write, you did well. And below, I can see that I'm posting as a ambitious pineapple. And what it means is that the anonymity feature is turned on. So if I provide a feedback, my name is unknown, which might be also good to maybe enclose if students are hesitant to provide the feedback. And below, I can also flag the comment as a compliment or suggestion. In this case, I think it's rather a compliment. And I'm sure that you've already noticed that there's something also at the bottom that is automated feedback coach. And what it does is an option to provide students real-time suggestions on their feedback. So whilst I'm typing my feedback, it told me that your feedback is not specific enough to be considered constructive. So maybe I need to just write a little bit more. I think you should improve on something, and then we can see the feedback is still not good. What I need to do is my sentence didn't finish. I need to finalize it. So this is something that you can include and turn on per assignment. Might be a good way for students to include in their evaluation. And also the nice thing about the coach is that it already takes into account the criteria based on which you're evaluating. So that's an option for you. In this case, I would just submit my comment like this. And I can move on further to the reviews. Something that also we would like to point out is that when students writing evaluations, they can always add an attachment such as audio, video, record the screen, or attach the file. Might be a good idea, maybe to encourage students to write different feedback than a text one, just to make it more interactive. Okay, once I'm done, I can just click finish. I can see my progress here, and I can also read my feedback. Click view feedback. In this case, I only have self-assessment. Other students didn't evaluate me yet, but if that was the case, then I can also just open the comments and I can see what students have written, and then I can also maybe ask questions and make sure that the feedback received was understood by me. In this case, the last part is the grading. I didn't do a great job, but this is also because not all my teammates have evaluated me. If that was the case, I could also see the breakout of the points and what's my final grade. So that is all for the student view. And now I'll pause, and I would kindly ask you to log into your Canvas course and navigate to the course which Randy has provided in the chat. There are a couple of steps to complete, so I will just share my screen. That will be basically the workflow. If you can just log into your Canvas with your normal credentials and then navigate to the course, open it, then you should land on a FeedbackFruits activity where you should be able to see what I just did and do the steps. I cannot see all of you, so if you can let me know that you're navigated to the course, that would be helpful.
Yeah, and I think in this group memory evaluation activity, we didn't know how many students, participants were going to be here. So we made it an individual activity. So you are asked to review yourself and I believe 2 of your colleagues. So it's just for you to get a feeling how it works for the student, what the workflow is like, how you can give the feedback and then read the feedback. And I think it works best if we all mute ourselves and then give you maybe 10 minutes to complete it and then get back, and then we can present the teacher side of the activity and show you what you've just done. And then also go through the analytics and show you how you can interpret those. I think it would be good to see if you can maybe do or put in the chat if you are unable to open the activity, or if there's something that blocks you from joining. And if not, good luck, and then we'll reconnect in about 10 minutes, I would say.
If you have
This
any
is
questions.
Ricardo. I'm going to be leaving shortly, but I want to say I was able to log in and did the mock activity. I noticed this is the first time I use it as a student and on mobile, and it is not very mobile friendly. It's hard to navigate on a small screen because the majority of the screen is taken by fixed elements, and the things that I have to fill in are hard to get on a small screen. So in terms of usability, not very mobile friendly. Apart from that, I look forward to looking at the recording of this to see the next part of the analytics that I won't be able to see for that part. Thank you all.
Thank you for joining, Ricardo, and thank you for the feedback. And that is something that we are already aware of. We do recommend using a laptop or a computer to fill out the feedback because it can indeed be a lot on a small screen. But we are improving the user interface very shortly in next month or so, where it will also be more mobile friendly. So I think that's already taken into account.
Exactly.
Right.
So also at
then I would
the
say
session, provide a little bit more insights into the new view. Now I will just mute myself, and if you have any questions, let us know.
Good luck.
All right. I think at this point, most of you have at least finished the self-assessment and gave some feedback. So I will just share my screen so you can see real-time analytics in the teacher view, and maybe still like 1 minute for others to complete it. I can even see who is online here on the top, so. All right, then maybe if some of you would like to share some maybe insights from the activity, if it was easy to navigate, if you have any questions, if there is something you'd like to know from the student view before we go over the teacher perspective. If not, then I believe we can cover it. All right, so this is the assignment, and as you can see, you've been participating in this activity individually. So prior to this activity, we just enable you the access in Canvas, and this is how you would also normally do it for your students. You would just need to have these students in the course to be able to launch this activity for them. And at the very top, I'm sure you're already familiar also if you have used other peer review tool, you will see the analytics such as students that have completed the activity. In order for this to actually say that you've completed, you would need to go into all of the steps. So that might not be the most reliable number to refer to. You're going to see the average number of comments and average time spent where the FeedbackFruits is open in a tab. So in order to get more information, let's scroll to the statistics per active student. So here we can see the progress, and that would also be a good place for you just to check which steps have been completed. So I wouldn't necessarily advise you to see how many feedbacks or so, but at least you can easily see the checkpoints, which steps have been completed. Now, if you would like more elaborate information, I suggest you download the export analytics, and we already know that there is a great video from the community of practice of analyzing the analytics. So I really refer you to the YouTube channel and having looked into this. Now, if we move on, here will be the instructions. We just kept it very simple, but you can also enclose some information about the assignment or also add an attachment in PDF, for example, containing the rubrics based on which students will evaluate themselves. So they might already start thinking about the criteria prior to evaluation. And then we have the main part of the assignment, which is given reviews. Now, there's quite a lot on this screen, so in case you don't have time, you just wanted to see more or less how students done in this assignment, I suggest you go to Show Ratings. If we click, this tab will give you a heat map, so a visual representation on where students are in the evaluations based on the criteria. So here what we can see is on contributions criteria, you've done quite well. You've done very well on the time management, so that's very good. Problem solving as well. Actually, you've been very, very kind with the evaluations. You all scored quite high, I must say. I think the research techniques is one of the highest. We can see working with others, 63%. So that's perhaps something that maybe you can work a little bit more, or the teacher can address it during class. And if we scroll down, then we can see in general how do you evaluate the group work contribution. That's not that great. And then the last part is a comment criterion, which we can look later on. So this basically gives you a very general view on the evaluation. So I suggest you don't have time, you just want to have a look, you go to this grid, and then you have a look into the criterion. And that gives you the insights into the given reviews, but of course we can also flip it and go to the self-assessment, where you can compare how the self-assessment ratio looks like with the given reviews. So in this case, it's interesting to compare that for the self-assessment, actually students are evaluating themselves a bit lower than others. And then if we go back from this view, there'll be more information to look into. First, something that we include recently is the keywords insight. So I can have a look into the most frequent words that you included in the comments, which is feedback. It's not a surprise, but also grade and work. If I would like to see where word feedback was used, I can also have a look into it. And I can see that Rachel loves this word and was using it a lot in the criterion. So that was perhaps copy and paste reused comment. So we know that. And we can also see which one of these are suggestions and compliments. Yeah, so that's all Rachel. And then maybe if we click into another one, then we can also see which students wrote it as well. Then below, you can see the student progress. So I can also see where you're at. So most of you have completed giving reviews, but then also one hasn't started and 3 of you have partial progress. So again, this gives you a good indication of where you are with the progress of the students. Now, if I would like to have a look into more individual comments, then I would go into view reviews, and this will give me a progress overview of an individual. In this case, this is our colleague here. I hope you don't mind that we are sharing the screen here, and I can see exactly the self-assessment, how the student has evaluated others, as well as individual evaluations. I believe that was also the comment that was previously made by your colleague, that it was a little bit cumbersome to navigate and find the right information. So there is one option of just going into the reviews, clicking the comments and having a look into this, but I do believe you would need to click a lot. So if you would really like to see the comments of the students, I would suggest you go into the Excel spreadsheet and have a look into there. You can then filter the students or filter whether this is given or received reviews and check all the evaluations there, so you don't need to open the comments here. Now, if I maybe would like to see progress of other students, then I can also just navigate with this playlist right here. Maybe I would like to check, maybe Ricardo. And I can see the only self-assessment has been done. Maybe I can navigate to another student that hasn't started yet. I will go back. And here also, what might be good for you to know, you can always elaborate or ask questions for the student, engage with the student. So in this case, maybe I can, well, no comment has been made, but I can also just go into the comment and additionally just ask or give a feedback from myself. I will pause for a moment to see if there are any questions or perhaps any comments so far. I know that most of you are muted, and I want to make sure that we cover what you would like to see.
Hi, Julia. Can I ask you a quick question?
Of course, go ahead.
If I heard that one student is not contributing at all, and I want the quickest way to go to that student to see what reviews that he or she receives from his or her peers, can you show me how to do that?
Yeah, I think in this case, it would be best just to go to received reviews in this case and just type the student name. So maybe it was, let's say, maybe, I don't want to cherry pick any person, but maybe we can just check test student. And in this case, okay, I can go to the view and see the received evaluations from Scott in this case. So I can have a look into this. And that would give me the criteria per criteria evaluation.
So
how does it sound to you?
This is what Scott reviews this test student, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And if there are multiple people who review the test student, there'll be more columns showing on that.
That's correct.
Right. Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Perhaps, perhaps we can go to maybe who had more. Maybe. I will use this example once again. So in this case, we have self-assessment, but also the received reviews. Yeah, in this case, also only self-assessment was done, but you can easily just see more columns added when there are more evaluations. So I would definitely advise you just to using this option to type students' names.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any other question? I think Sarah being muted. So, Janet, please.
What you were just saying, where the teacher could go in and leave a comment. Say I noticed, for example, that I have a student who is rating themselves pretty low on the self-assessment. I could go in and leave a comment saying, hey, so-and-so, I believe that your work is better than this. You could rethink blah, 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 or give some examples or something like that.
Yeah, that's correct. Exactly. So if we go to the grid, it's possible to provide a comment, but what needs to be done is first the deadline needs to be open, so we cannot post it after deadline, but also some comments already needs to be provided on that evaluation. So for example, if on this criteria contribution students haven't written any comments, then as you can see, it will be kind of blocked to do it.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. But maybe one of the things to also let you know about is that, of course, as a teacher, you can just go into the comments, put extra comments evaluation, but you can also be a separate reviewer if you would like. For that, we would need to go to the section received reviews, and the condition is that students would already need to receive evaluations from others, at least one. So as a teacher, I can go, and in the received reviews column, you will see a plus button, and if I click that, I can just add myself as a reviewer. You can see another column has opened, and in this case, I would need to evaluate based on the same criteria as other students. Janice, I will just provide the review on your behalf. I hope that's okay. And of course, then I can also write the feedback even if no comment was provided. I will be generous this time. And that might be a good option for you. The only thing to keep in mind is that if you provide the feedback here, then it will also count towards students' grade, or if you have a formative assessment, students' progress, and it won't be highlighted to student that this is feedback from the teacher in the grading module. But here, of course, when they open the assignment, they will be able to see that this is a feedback from my teacher, not from my peer. All right, and then moving on to the given reviews. I think also a good thing to know about is that you will see the student progress, but also the average rating. So you know how students scored, and this is an average of all feedbacks that students have given, but of course it might also be even more useful for you to know the received ones. So here you can see that Ricardo in this case was rated a little bit less than others, which will also be highlighted in a color. And again, in the received ratings, the same thing with show ratings. You can just really use one tab only, the received or given reviews, and they use the playlist on the top, so you don't need to scroll and go from one place to another. And the last part is grading here. I'll just go to the full screen for better visibility so we can have a transparency into your contributions. And again, it really differs what you will see here depending on which criteria and what grading you're including. In this case, we included grade on finishing feedback, reading it, as well as the evaluations gotten on the criteria. And in case you don't agree with the grade received, in the optional grade adjustment, you can always make it higher or lower. For example, maybe here we can add some points here. Maybe I know that the student was sick and that's why they couldn't attend to class presentation. So I can always make those grades higher if I want. And then you can see it updates. And the grading module is also a good place for you to have a look into maybe some abnormalities within the groups, or you know that maybe a student has dropped out or student didn't go into the assignment. You want to have a look into this, you can go into the grading, have a look at the overall grade, or have a look at some of the Reddit points, just so you have an idea into the overall progress. And that is all regarding the progress of the assignments that you've made. Curious if there are any questions on this assignment, or perhaps any of your individual questions for your use cases and courses. And I see that we also have 5 minutes left, so I would like to know how you would like to allocate this time. If you perhaps want to go into creating an assignment in Canvas, or if you're already familiar with it.
Julie, I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you show the screen that you shared that you just closed moments ago? Thank you. I see that like 75% of the grade is for completing the review and 25% is for reading it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did I get it? Okay, so let's say the students provide complete reviews for their peers, and then he or she reads all the review. So those are the two tasks that we want them to do. So my understanding is by doing that, they get full credits. And how is that last part, you know, the average score impacts the grading?
So I just opened this view so it's a bit easier to see the breakout of the grades.
Okay.
Yes, we have majority of the points for the feedback received. Can you repeat your questions once again?
Now that I see this breakdown, I think it's clear to me.
Right.
What I plan to do in my class is that to give them full credit if they provide the review and read the reviews. And the adjustment, I want to see first how it goes. I don't want the system to automatically adjust it by the review. So would that be that I have to put 0% on ratings received on work in total?
Yes, I think in this case, if you just want to give a full score for completing or giving, then in
Yes.
this case, you would just disable these, give 100% for completing giving feedback. Yeah.
And I have to do the last one too, right? Has read all received feedbacks, right? So like break it down and make it sum to 100%.
Exactly. Yeah, it has to be well, depending on your preference,
Okay.
but it has to be 100%.
Thank you very much.
Fruits. Yeah. Thank you
That
for
was my
elaborating. It's much easier to see it in the edit mode with the grading instead of so many grades. But yeah, these are all the 4 options you have here.
Okay.
And then yeah. And in
Thank
this
you.
case, reading all the received feedback means going into the received feedback and opening the comments and at least doing these 2 actions from students. Yeah.
Okay. Last question. Sorry, I keep saying that. Is there a feature to send like a reminder to read or things like that?
Right. So we have deadlines for the different steps. In this case, in order to read, then you would go to the received reviews, and then you can schedule a deadline for, let's say, you know, we don't have any deadlines, so it can be for Thursday, and students will receive a nudge in their Canvas calendar for reading the feedback. That's correct. You can also set up the completing the feedback as well. We just had it open. We'll be here in this section.
Super helpful. Thank you so much, Julia.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And there was also a question from Rachel. Can you share where to find your step-by-step documentation? Definitely. So in terms of help articles and how to navigate through the assignments, we have a lot of articles and also a YouTube channel. I can link those, but I believe we'll also follow up with the presentation where you can find this. So for us, 1 second, you can just find all of those in the presentation. But it will be best to just have a look in the instruction videos where we also have step-by-step walkthrough for students set up. And also something I haven't mentioned, there's a support chat available Monday to Friday where you can reach out always to our colleagues with any questions. So might be helpful to know. And I see some people are already leaving because we are past the time. So thank you so much for joining. I don't know if there are any other questions, but appreciate your participation today, especially the active one in Canvas. I hope you find it helpful.